Right now, companies have access to incredibly powerful AI models, but they are quickly realizing that a brilliant algorithm has zero value if they can't figure out how to wire it into their messy, real-world operations. This chart tracks the 12-month hiring trend for a specific role called the Forward Deployed Engineer, or FDE. Between 2025 and 2026, job postings for this position grew sevenfold, jumping from 643 to over 5,300. The companies driving this hiring spree are the frontier AI labs themselves. Organizations like Anthropic and OpenAI have realized that their software only succeeds when it's successfully embedded into a client's specific workflow. This demand extends to major tech infrastructure players like Stripe and Google Cloud. These firms are no longer just selling a service. They are sending engineers to ensure that service actually works inside the client's existing architecture. The tech industry has identified a new operational reality. Product-market fit in the AI era happens on the factory floor, requiring a hybrid specialist who can bridge the gap between high-level code and physical results. Historically, when big business encountered a complex bottleneck, they hired traditional consultants. Those consultants conducted remote interviews, analyzed data from a distance, and delivered a static presentation deck as their final product. That remote, slide-heavy approach fails when you're trying to deploy functional AI agents. You can't troubleshoot a live autonomous workflow from a conference room. You have to be in the code as it hits the data. Businesses are shifting their budgets away from people who simply explain the problem. They want partners who can sit at the desk, diagnose the friction, and build the solution on-site. Abstract advice is losing its market value. The current cycle rewards the delivery of a functional prototype over the delivery of a strategic recommendation. The blueprint for this role comes from Palantir. They developed the FDE model out of necessity while working in highly sensitive, high-stakes environments. When you're building software for military or intelligence agencies, you can't conduct standard corporate user interviews to find out what the customer needs. You're often working in a vacuum of information. Palantir's solution was to send teams directly to the client's desk with rough software demos. They would watch users interact, absorb the immediate feedback, and rewrite the code live. This started as a way to handle unscalable service demands, but it became a systematic method for product discovery. They weren't just fixing bugs, they were letting the front line define the product. An FDE isn't a single coder, it's a two-part squad. First, Echo, domain experts, uncover pain points and challenge assumptions. Then, Delta engineers build immediate functional prototypes, messy gravel roads solving specific problems. HQ then abstracts these into scalable platform highways. This structure ensures that software development stays chained to operational reality. Every new feature is a direct response to a problem that an engineer personally witnessed on the front line. This model represents a direct threat to the traditional consulting economy. FDEs don't bill for their time. They often tie their contracts to measurable operational outcomes. Instead of charging for a 100-page report on supply chain efficiency, an FDE firm might sign a contract that pays out only when they successfully reduce the client's capital cycle by a specific percentage. Curious. Surprisingly, the best candidate for this role isn't a traditional software architect. It's actually a tech-literate consultant who understands business processes, but prefers building tools to writing slides. Firm. The FDE role represents a logical career evolution for the modern advisor. It requires shifting from the role of an observer to that of an active builder within the client's system. To survive this shift, traditional firms have to change how they train their people. Consultants need more than just business logic. They need the data intuition to build functional prototypes using low-code tools or internal AI agents. Firms also have to change how they are structured. They must move away from remote, phased projects and toward long-term, embedded squads that operate like startups inside the client's organization. The competition is already moving. Cloud providers and tech giants are bypassing traditional advisors to deploy their own engineers directly to the client site, capturing the revenue that used to go to consultants. In a market where AI agents are becoming a commodity, a strategic plan has little inherent value. Revenue is now tied to the physical implementation of the code and the measurable result it produces.